Hello students, today we are going to start with the chapter agriculture, that is serially chapter number 4 of geography class 10. The first thing here, let us understand the basic concept that agriculture is the basic economic activity of India. 60% directly or indirectly are involved in this. Why? Because this is our nature of the country is such that we have all types of seasons and all kinds of vegetation is grown here, which is helpful in doing it commercially, and we make money out of it. That is why this is a basic fundamental of our economy, right? So let us start from the types of farming, which is given on the page number 20 sorry 34, right? The first type is that primitive subsistence farming. The first type of farming means in which the person is growing anything for the family itself, not for the commercial purpose, right? So for individual use is called your primitive subsistence farming. Some of the examples are given here because it is known with the different names, correct? Somewhere it is known as shifting cultivation, somewhere it is known as slash and burn, somewhere it is known as jhuming. In different parts it is known with the different names, correct? Second one is your intensive subsistence farming. Here you have a small land, but land is not enough for your survival, so people are using chemicals to grow more out of it, correct? So there is a lot of pressure on the land, which is the condition of India today. So farmers are left with small land and the pressure of growth is more, means they have to grow out of it a lot because they have to survive. So this is called intensive subsistence farming. The third type is called commercial farming, which is used basically, as the name is saying, for the commercial purpose. Means you have to sell it in the market, right? One of the example is the plantation. Plantation means growing one type of a crop in a row on a large scale. Here you need lot of investment, even you need machines, you need lot of labor also. Good examples are banana, coffee, etc. You can see few examples are given in your book also. So this is the first thing that you have to understand about the types of farming. Very important to understand and easy to write. So this is the first question, types of farming in India. Next we have cropping pattern. Cropping pattern means the seasons. So you are well aware about Rabi and Kharif crops, correct? So let us have a look at this. Kharif crops are grown in the month of rainy season, and Rabi crops are in the month of winter season, correct? And in between these seasons there are 1 or 1.5 month left, which is good to grow the crops which can be grown within a month and two, and they are also known as ZAID, correct? So here few examples are given of Rabi crops, Kharif crop and Zaid crops. Now let us see what are the major crops of India. So here we have list of crops given. You have to make a table. Okay, you have to make a table of each and every crop, in which you have to you have to write which is the crop, where it is grown, what is the temperature, what is the amount of rainfall needed, what type of a soil is needed. Okay, and if there is any special feature about that crop, few of them you know already from your small classes. However, let us have a recap on that. So the first crop here is rice. Okay, so rice is a staple food crop of majority of the people in India. It is a kharif crop which requires 25 degrees Celsius temperature, and annual rainfall has to be 100 centimeter. Okay, and it is grown in north plains and northeastern plains. You must have done map work of it, which I have given you. Okay, so first one is this, please write. Second is your wheat. Wheat is grown in northwestern part of your country, and which is second important cereal crop of India. What is cereal crop? Which is the basic food that we eat. And temperature here is of course little less, means 10 to 20, and the rainfall is 50 to 75 centimeter annually, correct? And it is grown basically in Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh. Let's move to the third one, which is millet. Millet is jowar, bajra, ragi, right? And it includes all kind of a chorus crop. Chorus crop means which is helpful in digestion of the food, and this is used for food as well as for the fodder, means animals also use them. So you must have seen the jowar and maize are being eaten by the animals, and they are rich in iron and calcium, which is very important for us to consume. They're basically grown in Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Gujarat. Correct. Next we have maize. Maize is also an important crop. You must have corn, you must have eaten in variety, sweet corn or popcorn, etc. So the temperature is required 21 to 27 degrees Celsius, and it is grown in Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. The next we have the pulses. Pulses, you know, you eat every day, variety of pulses, and India is rich in growing as well as consuming. Why? Because most of the vegetarians are found in India, and for my main source of protein is pulses, and they are being consumed with the help of this crop only. And this is also known as leguminous crop, you know, which helps in fixation of nitrogen in the air, that you must have done in science to understand this. Apart from this, we have sugarcane and oil seeds, tea, coffee, right? And horticulture, tea coffee I hope you can understand कि यहाँ पे we have to learn about the temperature, the state, the soil, where are they grown. Simple, you have to make a table of it, that will help you to learn them later on. Next we have horticulture crop. Horticulture crop includes vegetation and fruits, means growing of vegetation and fruits are little different procedure as compared to cereal and pulses and sugarcane, coffee. They are grown seasonally, and the demand of them is also throughout the country, because again, as I mentioned, that India is a vegetarian country, so most of the vegetation means fruits we are dependent, our population is dependent upon. So next we have a different type of a non-food crop. Till now we have done the food crops. Non-food crops has, first one is rubber. You know what is rubber? We all know, and the uses of it. It is given in 4.14 figure. You can see how the rubber is used for making variety of products, and where it is grown. It is basically grown in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh. So here we have a temperature 25 degrees Celsius, and we need a rainfall of 200 centimeter and above that. Correct. Apart from this, we have cotton, jute, which are required for the purpose of wearing clothes, and they are found in different parts of the country, can be grown, and that is also in much demand by the external foreign external demands are there for cotton. Basically, India has been known for its beautiful cotton product and cotton fiber, which is basically sought from India, then the other countries make their fiber in it. Okay, so here you have to, again I'm repeating, make your table in which you have to write all the crops, their temperature, rainfall, etc., the state wherever they are grown. The last topic, and very important, is that technological and institutional reforms. Let me explain what is reform. Reform means changes. It has been more than 70 years of our independence. The time and the need of 1947 is different from 2020. So what can be done and what was done during this period to reform our agriculture, to bring changes? Changes means to improve it, of course. So it is being done with the help of two aspects. One is technological reforms and other is institutional reforms. So understand one thing, technological reforms means to bring new techniques, means bring new ways of doing agriculture, such as using HYVs, using tractors, using groundwater, using other kind of B2 seeds, which helps in growth of the agriculture, correct? And the next one is your institutional reforms, in which the concept of doing agriculture has been improved by the society itself or the help which we get from the government. So in which comes that earlier we had a zamindari pratha, in which only one person is having hold of maximum land of the village. Now this was being curbed by the independent government to a certain extent, and the redistribution of land was done to the farmer, so they can have access to the land where they grow. Now they are the owners of the land. Okay, one is that zamindari pratha to change, so that when the structure of the land ownership was being changed. Okay, and apart from this, help which is being provided by the government. So the concept of loans, concept of subsidies, concept of help at the time of crisis, insurance, short term loans, credit cards, so they can avail small loans on everyday ground. And moreover, information to them, information in the sense how to teach them that what kind of plants they should grow, so they can improve their agriculture. Nowadays there are a lot of universities, those who are providing graduation courses in agriculture. There are call centers where you can make a call and ask that I would like to grow this, how can I do it? There are channels, weather forecast, which talks about what is going to happen, the rain is going to happen, what kind of a winter we are going to have next year, so the entire seasonal help they are being provided. So such kind of a help to the farmer is required, and it has been being practiced in India, just to improve the agriculture, because ultimately this is the backbone of our economy, backbone, most of the income we generated from here. So this was the important thing that we have covered. One is on page number 43, that is bhudan and gramdan. This is in context of zamindari pratha, to abolish it. So Gandhiji and his follower is Vinoba Bhave. After Gandhiji, Vinoba Bhave followed him, and he walked on his foot throughout the country and asked for donation. What kind of a donation? From the zamindar, to donate the land of the village to them, and same time he is redistributing the land to the poor of that village. So this way he helped in creating equality among the farmers and bringing more reforms in the land redistribution. This is the basically the concept of institutional reform, which was done beautifully by Vinoba Bhave to help and to bring equality among the farmers, so they can feel good about their uh, land and the growth, and they can do it more, and they are motivated towards it, so they can grow by feeling that this is their own land, rather that they are growing on the land of the zamindar. Okay, so here we have finished this lesson, and a small table on page number 44 is given about the contribution of all the sectors in Indian economy. Here I think we have also done sectors of Indian economy, in which we learned about that GDP is being calculated from primary, secondary and tertiary sectors, and the percentage of their contribution is given in this. Here we see that Indian agriculture is not doing so, means they are not contributing in the GDP, rather they are lagging behind. However, most of the people are employed here, but still they are not contributing in the GDP. This is very strange. So that is the that is a issue which we need to sort after, which we need to look at it. See, page from rest food security has been cut off in the new books. In old books it is being given. We don't have to do from food security till end. So our chapter is still this table which I have just mentioned to you, right? So this way we have finished this lesson. Thank you.